So where do you want to start?
I think the marketplace has shifted really dramatically, and that's a great thing. You know, the regulator knew what they were doing when they introduced the competition mandate, because having competition is healthy. It means everybody has to work a little bit harder. You've got to be a little bit fitter in terms of the outcomes that you're pursuing. All of these things has created a fundamentally a different banking battlefield, as we refer to it, and that's exciting.
You know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, you could have legacy infrastructure, legacy technology. That was fine, but now it's become table stakes to have really good technology. It's become, you know, and now the next phase of that sort of modernization journey is moving to the cloud. There are a lot of entities that are saying, I've got this, you know, legacy infrastructure. Do I stick with it, or do I move to the cloud? Is it just lifting and shifting everything that I'm currently doing in the cloud, or do I take something to the cloud and create something totally new, something more agile, right? So I think that sort of modernization is a key trend that we've started to see, and we'll continue to see that over the foreseeable future.
Generally, emergence of fintechs has driven the market forward a lot. You know, we've leaped forward. It provided competition, it provided types of services that banks hadn't thought about. You know, there's a point of view that you can say banks are quite happy where they were and doing what they were. So competition kind of shakes the old world and gets the new players.
Banks have historically it's been hard for them to innovate. Particularly on sort of the digital agenda, right? It's hard to find a great banking app done by an incumbent bank. But banks still have a huge distribution power. And you can sort of think about the banking services as, you know, a lot of different products horizontally just spread out. And what fintechs have done is they've sort of been attacking this horizontal line. You know, I'm going to be the best one at providing loans for cars, and then I'm just going to go very, very deep and offer a unique, you know, consumer experience almost.
I would say that for quite some years, I think banks have more and more started working with fintech, investing in fintech, leveraging the innovation that fintech is doing to create great stuff together for customers.
But I think that's a big part of the shift that we're seeing. You know, it's a move from commodity products to much more intelligent services. It isn't just about self-serving through a mobile app. You know, can you make payments and do transfers and whatnot? Actually, the orchestration of people's financial lives is much richer than that. This is something that's embedded, not necessarily in the sense of, you know, having payment capability wherever you are, but embedded into your life, which is, again, it's a service, it's not a product.
The banks need to understand that they can't innovate at speed. Good reasons for that regulation. A fintech can experiment. They get something wrong in FCA, whatever, the regulator will slap them on the wrist, they might fine them. But it's kind of working out the balance commercially, because when those fintechs are small, they'll really want to work with the banks and they'll agree to any terms. As they grow, they'll renegotiate.
What does the future look like 5, 6 years from now?
You can fantasize as much as you like. Reality is that we're going to have a multitude of ways to pay and multitude of channels. We're not going to all move to one channel. So it's not going to get easy, it's going to get more complicated.
A few years down the line, we'll see much less plastic, so physical cards. You know, actually already today, at least in a business context, most of our business customers, they've adopted Google Pay, Apple Pay, you know, tokenized pay in some sort of way. So they have little use of the actual plastic. So I think that probably slowly will go away. But the distribution network of the card schemas is just extremely powerful. Visa, MasterCard, other schemas, you know, that is the distribution network where you make transactions on a day-to-day. So that's not gonna go away anytime soon.
Really, the revolution with fintech is more of a B2B conversation than it really is a B2C conversation. I think the options for organizations in the back office from a B2B sense is where it's really exciting, because this allows you to go from, you know, Betamax to where we are today with 3D televisions or VR or whatever. It's just leap years ahead of actually where their expectations are.
It isn't that easy to just go in and say, hey, I'm going to do something cool in financial services. But that infrastructure is very resilient and efficient, and there's a lot of things that can be built on top of it. But the real disruption, if it comes, I think is going to come more from those types of innovation that will challenge the infrastructure. But until that happens, we have so many things to do innovating on top of it.
If you look into the future of payments and cards, and if we think about the consumer environment, so private individuals, I think we will see a convergence of payments and cards and transfers. Some of these concepts of different payment and card rails, I think, will be blurred in the future, and we'll be moving much more to real-time payments. I do think cards will be really important as the centerpiece of ecosystems or loyalty schemes, right? And so I think those ecosystems are becoming more important than the actual payment. You can earn points, and there are CRM, loyalty schemes, and all these things. And this has been, of course, going on for a long time, but I think we'll see more and more of that trend becoming stronger and stronger.
Yeah, my key advice would be make sure you take a step back and understand your requirements.
If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? You have to go for things that could eventually end up being a learning defined as a failure, because there is just no way that innovation is going to happen without the acceptance that some things will not work out the way you expected them.
Getting them to understand they need to make a change. Mambu may not be their answer. Enfuce may not be their answer. But taking no action is not the answer. There are people looking, and they're still looking, and they're still thinking. And ultimately, that's where the insurgence of new entrants have come from, because other people have stood still. But now those providers are thinking, we need to make a move. We need to future-proof the business. We need to move for our customers.
So try to work out what you want to have in-house first, and then what you want to have outsourced. And then is there a path for you to migrate more in-house if and as you become successful? Or is there a path the other way around, that you do something small in-house and actually you move outwards?
I think the risk is, you do nothing and you just get attacked on every single proposition that you have, from new fintechs popping up right, left, and center.
It's an exciting industry to be in. I'm really, as I said, having spent pretty much all of my working career in payments, I've seen it change so much, and the speed of change has escalated in my time. So I'm looking forward to the next, I won't say 10 years, I don't know if I want to work that long, but 5 years definitely, and seeing more change, and as a consumer starting to reap the benefits of that innovation.
I would say try to get an understanding of how costly it is to operate the infrastructure that you have today. How much money do you spend on consultants? And try to weigh that against the opportunities that you see is really successful out there. There are many examples of neobanks or mobile-first banking experiences that are extremely successful. So weighing those two options against each other, I think it's quite clear what you need to do.
The opportunities are reasonably limitless. The shaping of the market, the movements in the market, the geographies that are kind of catching the beat that we've seen here in the UK and further afield. 10, 20, 30 years out, we'll be doing something, but it's going to be completely different to what we're doing now.
I'd say that, now's not the time to live in fear. Now's the time to be aggressive.
The product owner taking that risk, I applaud them. Go for it. Be brave.